Hey, everybody, welcome to Money Matters. I'm Mickie.
And I'm Marshall.
That's right. And we are here to tell you that, you know how they always say that it's not an age, it's just a number. Or wait, I don't think that's right.
You got that
No.
backwards.
Yeah, I do. They really mean that when it comes to retirement. Yeah. So if you've been misled by this, I'm telling you, Marshall's got a lot to say on this. I know he does. And I have a lot to ask him because I am really fascinated by this whole thing, So it's kind of a one of those things that a lot of people seem to have it stuck in their head that they need to be retiring at a certain age. Like a lot of times you hear 65, right? But isn't that actually misleading for most people, Marshall?
Yeah, it really is. It is. Retirement is definitely not a one size fits all, right? Because we're all so different. And so to set a goal like 65 is just so generic that it doesn't take into account your health, right? Your skills, your ability, your life circumstance. You may end up in a great situation and become financially independent well before 65, right? And so it's different for everybody. So it's one size fits all is not a good way to go about it. Plus it's hard to get motivated if you're just kind of waiting for the time to tick by.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Yeah. So when we say retirement is a number, not an age, what does that number actually represent? I want to know because I'm hoping I've got that number.
Yeah.
Just let me know, Marshall. I want that number.
You want that number?
I
do. You hear numbers a lot in the media, like 2 million or 1 million or something like that. But the number that is really most important is your monthly expense number. Okay, Here we go. Back to the monthly expense thing, right?
Okay.
Because we're affiliated with Dave Ramsey and Ramsey Solutions and help people, that have created a budget. They're out of debt and, they have an emergency fund and they're ready to put money away. Well, that budgeting thing about knowing how much you're spending is important when you're in your 20s, but it's even more important when you get close to retirement, right? Because I can use these really fancy software tools. I mean, really complex things, but the most important number in there is how much you're spending each month. Because think about it, if you're spending 3,000 or 5 or 8 or 10 or 12, it makes a difference over the next 10, 20, 30 years, how your retirement plays out.
Yeah.
So in my view, it's about, your spending month to month. So that ties into all your goals, right? Plus that has to do with where you live, all those lifestyle things. So for me, the number to start with is how much you need each month to live comfortably and be,
comfortably.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So, when that happens, I guess you're making sure that people are thinking, they're being mindful of that because there's also cost of living increases, right? So I'm kind of curious that if that's a mistake that people make or what are some of the biggest mistakes people do make when they're planning for their retirement based on age instead of actual numbers. It kind of goes back to that, really.
Yeah. I think the biggest mistake is undersaving. They're not saving enough. So if you're in your 30s, you're thinking, gosh, that's like 30 years. It's a long time. I don't need to save now. I can make it up later. Right.
Yeah.
And then as you get older, you might lose hope that I haven't saved enough. Why try now? Right. So with having the number, it makes it a math problem and not just a time bomb problem, right?
Right.
It's more of a math problem. And then once you figure out, what you need, you start working your way backwards to today, right? Yeah. Because today, the present moment is the only time to really make the changes you need to get ready for the future.
Sure.
And so the way to do that is through understanding the numbers, right?
Yeah. So, when they're thinking about the numbers, how do they make those kinds of projections so that they can backwards plan?
Well, the issue is life happens.
Sure.
Right. And so the other thing to think about is, if you pick a number like 65, age 65, you don't know what's going to happen in life. health,
Right.
you know,
Right.
what's going to happen with wealth. You may inherit a bunch of money. You don't know about
Right.
caregiving. Can you speak to that?
Oh,
Caregiving,
yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
All these things. And, you know, I just, some quick stats that I saw, you know, everyone's shooting for that 65, 67, but a lot of people are retiring like 62 or 60. Sometimes it has to do with job change.
Ah, yeah.
Right? All these things that come up that are unexpected. So, you know, planning, I tell people it's a process. You don't set it and forget it. It's a thing that you do on an ongoing basis, right? Because you don't know exactly, you know, what the number is going to be or what the age is going to be. But the reality is, if you're working towards a number, you might get to that number sooner rather than later. Now, I've told you before, my definition of financial independence, because that's what we want. It doesn't matter about the age, it's financial independence, right?
Yeah.
The definition is the ability to live from the income of your personal resources, your personal assets, right?
Oh, yeah.
Whether that's investment property, right? You know this. What is it sending you after expenses? Could you live on that? Your investment account, what is it sending you that you could live on and sustain the account? There's all these things in that. And so, so the number is important. But anyway, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
You were saying save your money and invest your money so that you can have financial independence.
Oh.
And I'm totally picking up what you're throwing down, because I wish, and I just had this conversation with my adult children who are my age. They're 30. And, you know, so just saying. And I was saying, you know, I really wish I would have been more mindful when I was 18 and really putting away that $200 a month. And they're like, oh, yeah, me too. And then my daughter-in-law is like, well, I didn't have $200 extra a month to do that. And I thought, yeah, you're right. I didn't either.
Right.
But if we could have, wow, by the time we would be our age now, 30, wow, we'd be so much better off and moving towards financial independence.
Financial independence, the ability to live from that. And so that's the thing you're working towards. And if you hit that at 45, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know how to hit that at 45? This is the trap people fall in. When their income starts going up, they raise their expenses to their income.
Oh, I know.
This is the thing to do. When your income starts going up, don't raise your expenses.
Save it. Save the raise.
I've got a 30-year-old son, and he's starting income going up. And I think he gets it. We'll see if he gets it, but he is not raising his expenses. And if he starts to save 20, 30, 40, 50% of his income,
I know. Amazing.
Isn't that exciting?
My sister was telling me about this really great app, and I do know the name, but because I don't want to get into any hot water, I'm not going to share the name of the app.
Right.
Those of you who think you know, Google it. I'm probably not supposed to say Google it either, but whatever. So anyway, there's an app that you can get on, and it will tell you about all those miscellaneous little subscriptions that you've been
I've seen that.
Subscribing to, right? So when you think, oh, it's just a few dollars a year here and a few dollars a year. Blah, blah, blah. Hey, guess what? That really adds up.
Right.
And she went through it, and man, she's just like wiping things out. And she's like, look all this extra money I have to save every month. I'm like, you go, girl. Right on. That was very inspirational.
Love it.
But I mean, Marshall, for someone who's listening right now, who's watching and thinking, hey, I have no idea what my number is, and where should they start? Yeah.
So, advice. Ask for advice. We have a thing called a wealth accelerator checklist.
Yes, we do.
We do. And you can use that as a starting point. And you know what, Mickie, I try not, I want to talk to people. I don't want to, I don't want to make people feel bad or intimidated. Just talk to me. Phone call. You don't have to Zoom. Don't turn. The other day, a lady didn't want to turn on the video. I don't care. Just let's talk about your financial situation.
It's no different than a call, right? I mean, that's great.
Yeah, that checklist will get you started. And then the other thing too is not everyone is a number person. Sure. Some people are words and some people are numbers. Get a number person in your life.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're talking about age versus number. Figure out somebody that thinks in numbers.
Right.
I think in numbers. Did you know that? You think
no, not you.
You think I'm not thinking?
I know that about you, just a little bit.
Think in terms of numbers, right?
Right.
So that you can start to put these pieces together and work your way backwards from what you need to do. So,
and that's such a good point. And I love that you brought up that checklist too, because that checklist is great. We have just such great feedback on that. I like it because people can go through that checklist and just start getting an idea.
Right.
And, a lot of times it actually, has people thinking about different questions that they should be asking, and then they reach out to you and they're like, hey, what about this? What about this? Whatever, and everybody's different. Like you said, everybody's different, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's why, calling you, they can get some clarity. No pressure, no obligation, just clarity. So
So it's not really an age, right? I think we made that point, and it's not really a specific number unless you're looking at your budget. If you know your budget, you can figure out what that number is.
Yeah.
Right?
So how does knowing your number really change the way people feel about their future and their decisions that they make today?
Confidence. It boosts their confidence and it reduces anxiety. I met a couple yesterday, and I've known them for a while. And let's see, he was 54 and she's 45, and they paid off their house.
Wow.
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah, it is. Love it.
Right?
That's impressive.
All about confidence for retirement. Right? And they're saving and they're boosting that, and they've got cash. So having these numbers in your head boosts your confidence and reduces the anxiety. The anxiety comes from not knowing.
Exactly.
Right? Not knowing. And then once you know, then you can start making decisions, conscious decisions about your future.
Oh, absolutely. You know what they say, knowledge is power, right?
Exactly.
And when you've got that knowledge, you have the power of understanding how and when you can achieve that financial independence. And I mean, that's a beautiful thing.
The sooner you do that is the flexibility to make decisions to get in the right spot, right? A lot of times you wait so long, you're hemmed in. You can't make a decision because your options are gone. You want to have flexibility before you get to that point.
Absolutely. We talked a lot about that in our last podcast episode on overthinking investing. And sometimes people can overthink it so much that they never do anything. So it's better to get into the action and actually do that. So if someone feels like they're behind, and I mean, if they start to focus on their number instead of their age, can that really change the game for them? I mean, is that what they call a game changer?
Definitely, because it's a math problem then. It's not an unknown, thing you can't grasp. Once it becomes a number math problem, then you can start to work backwards and figure that out. And that's empowering, right? Once you get a grasp on the issue, and even if you're not a numbers person, if you find a numbers person you trust and they can explain that to you, it reduces that anxiety and gives you confidence. And then you can start working, using your energy to make progress and not to worry. Don't use your energy to worry. Use your energy to make progress on the goal and saving more and investing more and everything. I mentioned that couple yesterday as we talked through, and they told me about everything going on. I didn't even have to say it after I laid this thing out. They're like, we need to save more. And I said, yeah, you need to save more. And then they just said, okay, increase it to that. I turned around in their account, boom, they're saving more, right?
That's amazing.
And it's back to that set it, right? Remember, we've talked about this 100 times, is set a system up that it's running automatically.
Exactly.
Now, you don't have to think about it. Don't think. Just set it up and let it run.
Don't think, just do. Don't think, just do. Same thing. Don't sit there and stew on it. Actually do it. So
that's a rhyme.
Just do.
Just do. Wow.
Woo! I love it. Well, I also, going back to the checklist, I think that's a great place for people to start. So I will drop the link also in the description, everybody. So go to it today, click on it. Again, look through it. If you want to set up a call with Marshall, I know he doesn't mind. They're pretty short and sweet. And again, there's no pressure, no obligation, just clarity. So set up a clarity call with him and get started. So that's the main thing. You just need to get started. And also, quite frankly, a lot of people might not realize this. Marshall helps people all over the United States. So you don't have to just be in California or Tennessee. He has clients in all sorts of states across the USA. So
that's right. All right, Mickie, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity today.
You're so welcome. Thanks for sharing today, Marshall. And thank you all for watching. And we'll see you next time on Money Matters. Bye, everybody.